The world feels a little less stable these days, doesn't it? As we look at the date, September 15th, 2025, it's impossible to ignore the signs. Global tensions are simmering in various corners of the world, creating a sense of unease that ripples across continents. Supply chains, which we once took for granted, have shown their fragility time and time again. A conflict overseas can mean that the container ship can get delayed indefinitely, carrying your favorite coffee or essential grains. These disruptions aren't just theoretical anymore. They have impacted grocery store shelves recently, leaving empty spaces where staples used to be. Inflation has been a persistent thief, quietly stealing purchasing power from our wallets. The price of a simple cart of groceries has climbed steadily, making it harder for families to budget. Having a food supply isn't just for doomsday preppers, it's a practical step for any household. Think of it as an insurance policy for your stomach. You have car insurance in case of an accident and health insurance for emergencies. So why not food insurance for a supply chain disruption or personal crisis? Being able to feed your family without panic for a few weeks or even a few months is a powerful form of security. It gives you breathing room to navigate crises, whether it's a natural disaster shutting down roads or a sudden job loss tightening your budget. This preparation isn't about fear, it's about empowerment and control over family well-being. The empty shelves during the pandemic were a wake-up call for many. The time to prepare is now, while the sun is shining and shelves are relatively full. Let's look at how to start building that buffer and safety net for your loved ones. Having a well-stocked pantry is about more than just food. It's about creating a profound sense of security and peace of mind. Imagine a scenario where a severe winter storm is forecast, and the news is filled with warnings of power outages and impassable roads for a week. While others might be rushing to the grocery store, facing chaos and empty shelves, you can stay calm. You know that you have enough food, water, and supplies to comfortably ride out the storm without ever leaving your home. This feeling of being prepared and self-reliant is invaluable. Consider the personal crises that can strike without warning, such as a sudden job loss or an unexpected medical expense that decimates your savings. These events can throw a family's finances into turmoil, forcing difficult choices between paying bills and buying groceries. Having a 3 to 6 month supply of food on hand acts as a critical financial buffer. It means that during a period of unemployment, your food budget can be drastically reduced, freeing up precious cash for your mortgage, utilities, and car payment. Building this supply doesn't have to be an overwhelming or expensive task. It's a journey of 1,000 small steps. The principle is simple: store what you eat and eat what you store. Each time you go to the grocery store, buy a few extra non-perishable items that your family already enjoys. If you use 2 cans of black beans a month, buy 4 instead. Ultimately, a deep pantry is a tangible expression of love and responsibility for your family. It's a quiet promise that, no matter what happens, their basic needs will be met. Children, in particular, find great comfort in routine and stability. Knowing that there is always food in the house helps them feel safe and secure, even if the world outside feels chaotic. The peace of mind that comes from this level of preparedness is a powerful antidote to the anxieties of modern life. It allows you to focus your energy not on worrying about the next crisis, but on living a full and present life, confident in the knowledge that you have taken prudent steps to protect your loved ones. When it comes to long-term food storage, the combination of Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers is truly the gold standard for preserving dry goods. This method is trusted by seasoned preppers for its ability to protect food from its 3 main enemies: oxygen, light, and moisture. Mylar is a brand name for a special type of polyester film that is incredibly strong and has extremely low oxygen permeability. Unlike simple plastic bags, it creates a formidable barrier. When you pair a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber, a small packet that chemically traps oxygen, you create an environment where food can remain fresh and nutritious for decades. Grains, beans, pasta, and dehydrated foods can last 20 to 30 years or more. The process is surprisingly simple and requires just a few key supplies. First, you'll need the Mylar bags themselves, from 1 quart to 5 gallons. You will also need oxygen absorbers. For example, a 300cc absorber for a 1 quart bag and a 2000cc absorber for a 5-gallon bag. The final tool is a heat source to seal the bag: a household iron, a hair straightening iron, or a dedicated impulse sealer. It's also wise to have sturdy plastic buckets with lids to protect the bags from punctures and pests like rodents. Let's walk through the steps. First, fill your Mylar bag with the dry food of your choice: white rice, pinto beans, leaving a few inches of space at the top. Next, drop in the correctly sized oxygen absorber. It's important to work quickly once the absorbers are exposed to air, so only open the package you need and reseal the rest immediately. Press as much air out of the bag as you can, then use your hot iron or impulse sealer to create a strong, wide seal. You can check the seal by pressing gently on the bag after it cools. It should be tight. Over the next 24 to 48 hours, the oxygen absorber will do its work, and you'll notice the bag shrinking and becoming hard like a brick. I remember the first time I did this with a 25-pound bag of rice. I split it into 5-gallon Mylar bags inside food-grade buckets. A day after sealing them, I went to check on my work in the basement. The bags were so tightly vacuumed they looked like solid blocks of rice. It was incredibly satisfying to know I had secured a foundational food source for my family. Perfect candidates include white rice, pinto beans, rolled oats, and pasta. A simple, proven way to lock in decades of shelf life. Canning is a time-honored tradition that allows you to capture the freshness of the harvest and preserve it on your shelf for years to come. It's a skill that our grandparents relied on, and it's just as valuable today. Canning works by heating food in sealed glass jars to a temperature that destroys microorganisms and inactivates enzymes that cause spoilage. As the jars cool, a vacuum seal is formed, preventing any new contaminants from getting in. This method is perfect for preserving fruits, vegetables, jams, jellies, pickles, and meats. There are two primary methods of canning: water bath canning and pressure canning, and it's crucial to use the right one for safety. Water bath canning is the simpler method used for acidic foods like most fruits, jams, jellies, properly acidified tomatoes, and pickles. The process involves submerging sealed jars in boiling water at 212 degrees Fahrenheit for a specific amount of time. You'll need a large, deep pot with a rack on the bottom, glass canning jars, 2-piece lids, rings and flats, and a jar lifter. Pressure canning is absolutely essential for low-acid foods. This includes green beans, corn, carrots, meats, poultry, and fish. These foods lack the natural acidity to prevent the growth of botulism spores, which can survive boiling water temperatures. A pressure canner is a heavy-duty pot with a locking lid, a pressure gauge or weight that allows the internal temperature to reach 240 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the only temperature that is guaranteed to destroy botulism spores. Following a trusted, lab-tested recipe from sources like the National Centre for Home Food Preservation is a critical safety requirement. I have fond memories of my grandmother's pantry lined with jewel-toned jars of peaches, green beans, and strawberry jam. Every jar was a taste of summer enjoyed in the middle of winter. I've carried on that tradition, and one favourite to pressure can is homemade chili. Making a huge batch and canning it in quart jars gives a hearty, ready-to-heat meal anytime. It's a lifesaver on busy weeknights or during a power outage when I can just heat it up on a camp stove. Whether you're using a water bath for apple butter or a pressure canner for chicken soup, canning connects you to your food and provides a delicious, shelf-stable supply you can trust. In the realm of modern food preservation, home freeze-drying is, honestly, a game-changer. For a long time, this technology was only available for commercial or industrial use, but now, with the advent of home freeze-dryer units, preppers can achieve the ultimate in long-term storage right in their own kitchens. Freeze-drying, or lyophilization, works by first freezing the food and then placing it in a strong vacuum. This process removes about 98 to 99% of the water through a process called sublimation, where the ice turns directly into vapor without ever melting. The result is an incredibly lightweight food that retains nearly all of its original color, flavor, and nutritional value. When properly packaged, freeze-dried food can last for 25 years or more. The benefits of freeze-drying are, well, immense. Unlike canning, which can affect texture or dehydrating, which can shrink and harden food, freeze-drying preserves the food's original structure. A freeze-dried strawberry slice, for example, looks almost identical to a fresh one. When you're ready to eat it, you simply add water, and it rehydrates to a state that is remarkably close to its original form. This makes it possible to preserve a huge variety of foods that don't lend themselves well to other methods. You can freeze-dry entire meals like lasagna or beef stew, dairy products like cheese and yogurt, fruits, vegetables, meats, and even eggs. The possibilities are, honestly, nearly endless. Of course, this advanced technology comes with an investment. Home freeze dryers are a significant purchase, requiring both money and space. The process itself is also time-consuming, with a single batch taking anywhere from 20 to 40 hours to complete from start to finish. The supplies needed include the freeze-dryer unit itself, a vacuum pump, which usually comes with the unit, Mylar bags, and oxygen absorbers for final packaging. Despite the upfront cost and effort, many serious preppers find the investment worthwhile for the superior quality and longevity of the food they can preserve. It provides an unparalleled ability to create a custom food supply tailored to your family's specific tastes and dietary needs. A friend of mine who invested in a freeze dryer has turned his food storage into a gourmet affair. He freeze dries leftover portions of his family's favourite meals, from chicken pot pie to shepherd's pie. He then packages them in single-serving Mylar bags. When he goes camping or needs a quick emergency meal, he just adds hot water directly to the bag, and in a few minutes he has a delicious, home-cooked meal that tastes just like it was made that day. This is a far cry from the bland survival rations of the past. Home freeze-drying allows you to store not just calories, but comfort and a sense of normalcy, which can be just as important in a crisis. For those who aren't ready to invest in a freeze dryer or deal with the complexities of pressure canning, a countertop vacuum sealer offers a fantastic and accessible alternative for mid-term food storage. This method works by removing the air from a specially designed plastic bag before sealing it shut. By removing most of the oxygen, you significantly slow down spoilage from oxidation and the growth of aerobic bacteria and mold. While it's not as effective for storage over 20 years as Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, vacuum sealing is perfect for extending the life of many foods in your pantry, refrigerator and freezer for several months to a few years. The supplies are simple and widely available: a vacuum sealer machine and compatible vacuum sealer bags or rolls. These machines are relatively inexpensive and easy to use. The process is straightforward. You place your food item in the bag, insert the open end into the machine, close the lid, and press a button. The machine automatically sucks the air out, then uses a heated strip to melt the plastic and create an airtight seal. This method is incredibly versatile. You can use it to store dry goods like coffee beans, crackers, small portions of rice, and pasta, preventing them from going stale. It's also a powerhouse for freezer storage. In the freezer, vacuum sealing is a hero in the fight against freezer burn. Freezer burn occurs when air comes into contact with the surface of frozen food, causing dehydration and oxidation that ruins the taste and texture. By removing the air, vacuum sealing creates a protective barrier. A steak that might get freezer burn in a few months in a regular freezer bag can last for 2 to 3 years when properly vacuum sealed. I often buy meat in bulk from a local butcher when it's on sale. I then spend an afternoon portioning it out into meal-sized packages, vacuum sealing them, and stocking my chest freezer. This saves a significant amount of money and ensures I always have high-quality protein on hand. It's important to understand the limitations, however. Regular vacuum sealer bags are not a complete oxygen barrier like Mylar, so some air will eventually permeate the plastic over a very long period. Therefore, it's not the best choice for decade-long storage of dry goods. But for extending the life of everyday items, it's unbeatable. You can reseal bags of chips, store cheese in the fridge for months without it molding, and even marinate meats in minutes because the vacuum pressure opens up the pores of the meat. Long before we had refrigerators or fancy preservation gadgets, our ancestors relied on clever, low-tech methods to store food through the winter. Two of the most effective techniques were root cellaring and dry bulk storage, and they are just as useful for modern preppers. A root cellar is simply a cool, dark and humid underground or partially underground space. The stable, low temperature, typically between 32 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and high humidity slow down decomposition, keeping produce fresh for months. This method is perfect for storing crops like potatoes, carrots, beets, turnips and apples. You don't need to dig a huge cavern in your backyard to create a functional root cellar. Many older homes have a small, unheated basement room that can serve this purpose perfectly. If you don't have a basement, you can improvise. Bury a clean new metal trash can on its side in a well-drained spot in your yard, then create an insulated door for the opening. Alongside root cellaring is the foundational practice of storing dry goods in bulk. This is the easiest, most cost-effective way to build a large calorie base. Foods like white rice, dried beans, lentils, sugar and salt have an incredibly long shelf life when kept properly. Store them in food-grade 5-gallon buckets with airtight Gamma-Seal lids. The lids screw on and off easily, providing a robust seal that keeps out moisture, pests and light, while still allowing convenient access without cutting a mylar bag. My journey into prepping started with this method. I bought several 25-pound bags of rice and pinto beans from a bulk store. I then purchased a dozen food-grade buckets and Gamma lids. I dumped the bags into clean buckets and screwed on the lids. Drop a few bay leaves on top for natural insect protection. In one afternoon, I secured hundreds of thousands of calories that formed the backbone of my family's emergency food plan. Building a substantial food supply is only half the battle. Maintaining it is just as important. The most critical principle for managing your pantry is first in, first out, or FIFO. This is a simple inventory rotation system that ensures you are always using your oldest stock first, preventing food from expiring and going to waste. Another simple technique is to use a permanent marker to write the month and year of purchase clearly on the top of every can, box and bag. Your long-term food supply shouldn't be a separate, untouchable museum of food that you only access in a dire emergency. It should be a living, breathing extension of your daily pantry. A personal inventory system can be a huge help. This can be as simple as a clipboard with a checklist hanging on the pantry door, or a more detailed spreadsheet on your computer. Once a month or once a quarter, take a few minutes to review your inventory. Identify items that are approaching their best-by date and make a conscious effort to use them up. A well-managed pantry is an efficient pantry. As we've explored these different methods, from the high-tech world of freeze-drying to the ancient wisdom of root cellaring, a common thread emerges: the power of proactive preparation. In a world fraught with uncertainty, from fragile supply chains to economic tremors, taking control of your family's food security is one of the most rational and empowering actions you can take. It's not about succumbing to fear, but about building a foundation of resilience that allows you to face the future with confidence instead of anxiety. Every can of beans you set aside, every bag of rice you seal, is a brick in the wall of your household's self-reliance. The journey to preparedness is not a sprint. It's a marathon made up of small, consistent steps. Don't be discouraged by the thought of needing a year's supply of food tomorrow. Start small. This week, buy a few extra cans of your favorite soup. Next week, buy an extra bag of pasta and a jar of sauce. Use the vacuum sealer you got for Christmas to extend the life of the bulk cheese you bought on sale. These minor actions, compounded over time, will grow into a formidable supply that can see your family through a personal job loss, a regional natural disaster, or a broader societal disruption. The peace of mind this brings is a reward in itself. Remember that a well-rounded food supply includes more than just bulk staples. While rice and beans provide a solid caloric base, your plan should also incorporate the comfort foods your family loves, the tools and knowledge to cook them without power, and a system for rotating and managing your stock. The goal is not merely to survive, but to thrive. A warm, familiar meal can provide immense psychological comfort during a stressful time. By practicing these skills now, like canning your garden's tomato harvest, or learning to cook with your stored wheat, you are not just stockpiling goods, you are cultivating invaluable knowledge. Ultimately, preparing for tomorrow allows you to live more freely today. By taking deliberate, thoughtful steps to secure your most basic needs, you liberate yourself from a significant source of worry. You are creating a buffer that gives you options, whether the challenge is a flat tire or a financial downturn. The future is unknown, but your response to it doesn't have to be. By building your pantry, you are building resilience. You are making a tangible investment in the well-being and security of those you love most. Start today, one meal at a time, and build a future where you are prepared for whatever comes your way.